Well, you can definitely hear that Birkenhead River crashing down behind me. Hitting evening time, couldn't help myself. Went to another spot on the way home, see if I could get a few more shares out before going in. Sick of being inside this week. And a quick mention on the scientists, numerous scientists and military personnel who have emailed me directly this past couple of years. And I can't tally up exactly how many right now, but let's just say that between the scientists and the military personnel who have emailed me, all of them unrelated, and every one of them has the exact same themed experience of these things making it past their 10 to 12 foot chain link fence with barbed wire on top, and additional, one recent story is related to me, infrared security beams 18 inches above the fence and a 3-foot 30 and a 36-inch beam over top of that security barrier. And this one scientist witnessed one of these things bounding over the fence like nothing, clearing it, but it tripped the two infrared beams, which caused what he said was chaos ensued instantly afterwards. But he said when that thing hit the ground on their side of the fence, it stood up and was taller, or just as tall as the fence. But anyway, on that note, for many of you military and scientific people who are listening to me right now, and you have all seen the same thing, these things making it past the security barrier and looking up at you through the CCTV security camera screens. If you can, when you email me again, try to share with me what you think they are after. What is the big attractant? All right? Are they, like I was wondering earlier, I asked a couple scientists previous this week, I said, well, what do you think it is? Are they leaching energy from the nuclear facilities? Are they keeping tabs on technology that humans have? What is it? What is it you guys think that these beings are? Why are they so drawn to these facilities? That should be obviously you're going to be wondering the same thing, or maybe you know. And if you can, share with me when you can so I can share with the people what the hell is going on out there and why. I'm really, really, really curious to know what the draw is for these beings to hit the nuclear facilities and weapons places. Very curious. Now what do we got? Moving right along. Hi Steve, I'm watching your channel for a long time now, and I'm grateful for what you're doing to help those affected by the lies. I'm a 50-year-old man from a little town in western New York called Casadaga. It is a glacial lake village, probably better known for a hamlet in the village called Lilydale. It's the world's largest center for spiritualism. That fact alone makes our area different. I've had a lot of interaction with the paranormal. My first encounter with the SAS was when I was 7 or 8, in 77 or 78, in the fall. My family owned 40 acres next to a recently established Job Corps, which provided vocational training to inner-city youth. We lived in the old family farmhouse, and my uncle was building his new house about 300 yards away. There was a huge backyard with a large drainage ditch that marked the start of the hill in the woods. While all the adults were busy helping the building process, I was at the other side of the property agitating our goats. I heard a snap in the woods and turned to see what must have been an 8 to 9 foot tall Bigfoot standing there. There's a movie out my dad had taken me to about Patty, and the Bigfoot was on TV shows, etc., so I knew what I was seeing instantly. It had the evening sun behind it, so I couldn't see its face, but with the sunlight bathing it from behind, its reddish-orange hair seemed to make almost an aura. I could still picture it like it was yesterday, some 40-plus years later. I didn't stick around and flew to where my uncles and father were diligently working, screaming at what I'd seen. I was so shook up they all stopped to go look. My uncles were both cops. My grandpa was a 6'9" war hero. My uncles were both 6'7"ish. My dad was 6'2", all big guys, and the sheer size of what I'd seen dwarfed them. They were all accomplished hunters and knew the woods well. Of course, they found nothing. My Uncle Jim even took off on his dirt bike to try to head it off. Their conclusion was they saw a trespasser from a Job Corps, and I had seen too much TV. I was told I didn't see what I knew I saw. It wasn't a human. I knew what I saw. The weird thing is, it never stopped me from spending time in the woods. It shaped my whole outlook on life. I simply didn't believe the narrative, and I always knew there was more to this world than we're trained to believe. A year later, my father bought property down the road and built his house. I had another brief encounter there of 2 juveniles. I think we built in an area they'd travel through to get to a swamp across the road. I've had so many more encounters with these beings and other things I'm not so sure of. I even got into researching a bit. I've had the dreams, met hundreds of others who've had experiences. From what I've experienced, the hoaxers and fakers are rare. I'm very rarely doubtful of most I meet. We have a huge population of Sask here, and they don't get scared of us and are closer than most think. There's no possible way the government isn't aware of these things. I don't look for them, they seem to find me. I could write a small novel of my encounters. I don't suffer any skeptics, and I have no desire to prove anything, but I try to educate. What people do with it is on them. I go over worrying about what others think of me. By the way, my name is Dan Wieselke. I'm an assistant facilities manager at a local Christian camp, work on a grape farm, and spend a lot of my time in the woods. Thanks for being you, man. Real people are hard to find when it comes to this subject, as far as resources and answers. These beings live with us. They always have and always will. People deserve to know the truth. Life doesn't and shouldn't stop because he's seen Bigfoot. If that big boy wanted my little chubby 7-year-old life, he could have had it. I'm more worried about the cougars that don't exist according to New York DEC, coyotes, wolves, and black bear than I am I'm more worried about the cougars that don't exist according to New York DEC, coyotes, wolves, and black bear than I am of these things. Respect and trust your own intuition are key. Being armed and having a phone or camera detours them too. Electronics more so than a gun. I'll finish up now as I know how busy you are. I hope this helps someone. Keep up your excellent work. All right, man. Thanks for that share. And if you have any more you want to share with us, knowledge you learned about these things in your travels in your lifetime, share away, man. Bring it here and deliver it here and share it away. If you've got what you feel may be some missing puzzle pieces, email back and share more. All right, it's encouraged. Hi, Steve. I thought for a long time about sharing this, but I thought it might not be as interesting as some of your other stories that you read. But then I realized that it was a learning experience for me. I was driving through northwestern New Mexico, USA. Beautiful area, and I was extremely happy to be there, enjoying the beautiful weather and the lovely scenery. I started dabbling in photography, so every once in a while, if there was a beautiful area, I would get out of my car and snap some photos. I was having an absolute wonderful time. I knew the area like the back of my hand. I was in a great frame of mind. As I was driving through the Jemez Mountains, south of Bandelier near the Caldera, I saw a cool area that I wanted to explore. I pulled over to the side of the road and walked into the forest. I was not far from the road, maybe only 100 yards. Suddenly, I did not hear anything anymore. It became completely silent. Even then, I thought it was really nice. I walked into this one area where the trees were bent over as if they grew in a U-turn formation. They were pointing to the ground. I thought that was cool. Again, I was still feeling really happy to be there. I snapped quite a few photos while I was there. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I was hit for no reason by a sense of horrific dread. I felt like my life was in great danger. I couldn't figure out why, but I broke out in a sweat and my heart started to race. I didn't see anything. There was no reason to feel this way. Fear is a reaction to some external stimulus, but everything was fine. However, I felt like I was going to faint if I did not get out of that area. I ran back to the car. As soon as I got out of the car, I heard a voice in my head telling me that I had to delete every single one of those photos that I took, that I was not allowed to take pictures of that area, that I was not allowed to take pictures out of that area. Honestly, I did not see anything, but I quickly deleted all the photos I took, and I drove away. I still felt like I was being pursued by something even though I was on the road in my car. The feeling of dread did not stop until I entered the Santa Fe area. I only bring this up because at the time, of course, I knew about Sasquatch. It was the mid-90s, but I only knew about the unpleasant smell and the knocking on trees. When I started watching your channel, I started to understand that things like the complete silence in nature and sense of terrible dread that was irrational and come out of nowhere are also part of the Bigfoot experience. Now that I've been watching your channel, I've reevaluated my experience. I thought that I met some sort of an evil spirit, but I think I was probably in the proximity of a Bigfoot. I think about the experience a lot now. Again, I did not see anything, and I did not smell any of the foul odor. But the other elements, the silence, the sense of dread, these were things I did not connect with such an experience. I really enjoy your channel. Thank you for what you do. My name is Chris from New Mexico. That sounds innocent, Chris. And I'll tell you what, if it was me, I know my shooting attitude. I probably would have said, ram it up your ass. I'm on this planet, and I have just as much of a right to be here as you, and I'm going to take the pictures home. But that's just me. You know what? If you're ever in the same area, why don't you try doing it again? Why don't you try to duplicate that moment, if you want, if it feels okay in your gut, and go there and take all those same pictures, and then make tracks, see what happens. If it feels safe, right? But that's an interesting tale. I haven't heard too many similar to that one. Thanks for sharing that, all right? Hi, Steve. My name is Ernest Zamora. I live in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada now. Originally, I was born and raised in Colorado. My meeting with a Sabe man took place in a subdevelopment of Fraser, Colorado called Tannernash. In this subdevelopment, you can purchase land plots from 2 to 5 acres. Elevation in Fraser is around 12,500 feet. These properties are completely enclosed by the forest and the Rocky Mountains. As a matter of fact, one has to travel over Berthoud Pass, 13,500 elevation to reach Fraser. That's some background for the location. Now a little background on me. I'm 60 now. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. My job in the Army was a forward observer, 13 Foxtrot. My mission was to identify enemy targets and destroy them with indirect firepower, i.e. artillery, air support, mortars, and naval gunfire. My qualifications for combat were, I was in the 1% of all FOs in skill of my job in the Army. I am bilingual, perfect for deployment in Central America in 1983. Civilians never knew about that. Black Ops shit. That's my background. My meeting, the Sabe man, came in the winter 2001, early December. My wife and I had just finished our last load of my ex-in-laws stuff into their house. Everything absolutely normal for a family moving in. Great supper, good smoke, and good times. At 2 a.m., I woke up because I needed to piss. After that, being the smoker that I am, I stepped out onto the deck to have a cigarette. After all, I was wide awake now. As I stepped onto the deck, the motion-sensor lights that my ex-father-in-law installed came to life. With my eyes adjusting to the deck light, and from lighting my cigarette, I spotted what I thought was a bear. I didn't make a sound, but I did notice the double-headed axe on the woodpile my ex-father-in-law left out, just in case I needed it. As I watched, thinking that this was a bear, the Sabe man stood up, immediately went into battle mode. I grabbed the axe. I held it in one hand, cigarette in the other, and told him all I want to do is smoke my cigarette and not fight. But if I must fight, he may kill me in the end, but not before I'd put that axe between his ribs just below his left armpit. Now this might sound comical to you, but I was scared shitless. But, as always, Army training kicked in and I held my fear in check. The Sabe man was an effing giant. I mean giant. He had to be taller than 10 foot, and I'm estimating his weight to be in excess of 1,000 pounds. Long black hair on his legs, arms, and back. Just like a human has hair on our bodies, but nowhere near as long. At the shoulders, he had to be 6 feet wide. Here is the real creepy part. After telling him what I said, he looked down on me, smiled, and then gave me a chin nod. Turned around and casually walked back into the black forest. I was stunned, in shock. I finished my cigarette, shaking uncontrollably. This was at 2 a.m., 19 degrees below zero, almost at the Continental Divide. What prompted me to write you was the video you shared about Bobby Short's interview with Paul, the Cheyenne man. His description of what he killed is the same as my Sabe man. After that, I took this experience as a nod from the old man of the forest as a sign of respect. The mountains are theirs. The urban jungle is mine. It's a good trade. I thank you sincerely for creating a platform to share this without being labeled a crack, pot, fool, or liar. Please don't ever back down from those idiots who are too afraid to believe in the realm of possibility. Stay alert, stay alive. Ernest Zamora. Ernest, that's one hell of a frickin' experience, man. One hell of an experience. Wow. I'm curious if you went down there and checked for any footprints, but then again, who gives a shit, right? Really? When I seen the ones that I saw, I didn't really give a flying shit about the footprints, and I still don't, so whatever. Forget I even said it. But keep us posted, all right? If you got more you want to share another time, or you know somebody wants to share more, make sure you share it, all right? Make sure you email it in and get it into me and get it into the people. And it'll be read word for word, obviously, right? Because it all helps. What an incredible experience you had, man. I can't wait for more puzzle pieces to fall in. Hello, Steve. I guess it's my turn now. Love the intro and ending videos. Gives the rest of us the opportunity to share in your daily world. Here we go. The only one who knows this account is my wife. And just recently, she was kind and understanding as usual. I'm a blessed man. At any rate, I'm not a country boy. Please don't hold that against me. I'm a city boy, other than a few trips to Yosemite in my younger days and some stays in Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead, California, or perhaps at a men's church retreat. We live in Southern California, and this happened to me 37 years ago. Yes, 37 years ago, but the imprint it made on me is indelible. The strangeness of it kept me from sharing it, but it is real, of that I assure you. I was on a business trip to Redding, California, and thought what a great opportunity to arrive a day early, drive to Mount Shasta, and do a day hike there. I was a daily jogger and thought how tough could that be, but I never got there. Here's what went down, my friend. I got directions from a Redding local and headed out. It was a weekday morning in the spring, say 8, 9 a.m., when I set out on the drive. It was an absolutely beautiful day. Blue sky, big clouds, winding mountain road, singing birds, and it seemed I was the only one on the road, and the air temp was perfect. I was driving a nice rental car. Driver window partway down, and again, no other cars on the road. I was just happily cruising along. I had a smile on my face and a James Taylor song in my head. I was on the road maybe 45 minutes, and as I rounded a bend on the 2-lane highway, it was like I crossed some unseen barrier and everything went still. I mean, weird. Like someone had snapped their fingers and presto, instant mute. Now, I know this is particularly odd seeing I was in a moving car, but the atmosphere of everything went still. I slowed way down. I heard nothing. I pulled over along the side of the road and stopped. And yes, I could have gotten rear-ended. Dumb move, I know. I put down all the windows, but still heard nothing. It was eerie. Looking around, I saw nothing I could term out of place. Then, and I'm not a fearful person, but utter fear came over me, like fear itself had climbed into the car and had taken a hold of me. And then a sound inside of me, a voice, not audible but loud and clear, saying, "If you don't turn around now, you will never be heard from again." I'm telling you, this was real. I sat there stunned. How can this be happening? It was like I had entered the twilight zone. But the fear was real, and the voice said a second time, "If you don't turn around now, you will never be heard of again." And that was enough for me. I proceeded to make a U-turn in the middle of a 2-lane bend in the road, around a blind curve. I pointed my car into the mountain, blocking both lanes, backed up, and then punched it out of there. Still, the atmosphere felt somehow suppressed. I had to tell myself to slow down or I might drive off the road. Within a short distance, maybe a quarter of a mile, something again snapped its fingers and the sound came back on. I could once again clearly hear the world around me, and everything returned to normal. What had just happened to me? I had no clue. Was God or an angel warning me off for some impending doom? Was it my own inner voice speaking to me? Was my mind playing tricks on me? Was it a Sabe, Sasquatch? I don't know. As well, the question, did the environment actually change, or was my perception of the environment the thing that changed or revealed itself to me? Might I have become a missing 411? Steve, I don't know how to share this with anyone, so I've never did until now, so thanks for that. I'm a Christian and know that spiritual realm around us is real. I've never doubted that. Something was up to something, but I don't know exactly who, why, or what. I still shake my head over my pulling that U-turn in the middle of the road. On a side note, along the lines of sensing you're being watched, I've always understood that eyes are both receivers as well as senders. I'll tell you, when I was young, my dad sure could send a message to me with his eyes alone. God bless you and yours, Steve. Keep up the good work, Paul. Paul, those experiences that people are sharing, including yours, are something else, right? Hearing that voice. I mean, how many people have we heard from now that have shared that with us, right? How many? Dozens. And obviously the people that possibly ignore those words or challenge them, well, we haven't heard from any of those people, have we? So I don't know what to make of it. Hopefully somebody out there can and will possibly share with us an experience they had where they heard the voice and possibly saw what made the voice, or possibly took it maybe one half a step further and saw firsthand what that doom might have been. I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone else when I say that would be a hell of a thing to listen to, wouldn't it? Because I am really curious about what what's going to happen if you ignore that voice, right? I can't say what I would do if I've never heard a voice. I don't think I've never heard a voice like that. I've had my guts tell me something's off and something's wrong. I felt pressure and I've left. But I've never heard a clear voice telling me to get the hell out of there. I'm going to die. I think my reaction would probably be taking the safety off my 300 short mag and saying, well, let's get it on, show yourself, and let's talk about it. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. But the feeling of dread and terror has made more than a lot more people that are stronger than me, tougher than me, turn tails and run. So I can't say how I'm going to react if that happens to me, but I'm hoping I'm going to call them on it just long enough to see what's up, because I want to know. Hi, Steve. Love your videos. Very helpful. So here it goes. I work for a major railroad company in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and my route is from Cheyenne to Rawlins, about 180 miles to the west. My train was on a 3-track, which runs fairly close to northern Colorado, what is considered the foothills. This sighting happened about 3 months ago as our train was approaching the tree line. I just happened to look out to the north side of the window, and I see this figure walking on 2 legs toward us. We were only going about 15 miles per hour. It was all black, hairy, and very big. I told my engineer to look at it too. It was about 50 yards from us, walking very slowly. Its arms and hands were below its knees. There was a 7-foot snow fence near him, and he/she was taller. My engineer said it was probably the rancher that lives near. This person had no visible clothing on, black hair, head to toe, and in an area that I've never seen anyone, and I've been taking this route for 8 years every day. I told my engineer that we just saw a dude wearing a black ghillie suit, and he or she was out for a walk in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. On my return trip to Rawlins, I saw him/her again walking near the Laramie River, about 30 miles north of Laramie, Wyoming. As our train crossed the river, I looked to the south only to see it walking along the banks as if looking for food. Very strange to see a bipedal, all-black, hairy person just wandering on a riverbank in a place I've never seen anything but pronghorn coyotes. Both days the sun was shining, but it was very cold. Now when I'm on a train with the new engineer we're talking, I just mentioned about that day I saw a dude wearing a black ghillie suit walking around the wilderness, to which I get the, "Are you crazy?" look, and I change the subject. Thanks for reading my long email. I'll be forever looking out the windows now. I really appreciate all you do, JT Stevens. You can say my name. Thanks for that share, man. I appreciate it. And I always look forward to hearing from the rail workers, the train conductors, to email in what they've seen, because you guys see a lot. And, if you're seeing something that frequent or more than once, it might be an idea to go grab yourself a Sony Handycam, just keep it in your jacket pocket when you go to work. Keep it somewhere nearby the window. I would. It'd be handy to videotape some of that shit, right? Keep us posted, man. Whatever you see from here on in, make sure you email it through, all right? We all want to hear about it. Hello, Steve. I hope this email finds you and those around you well. Go ahead, share my name, Dale Apfel, if you'd like, along with anything else I write. I'm not much of a writer, so I'll get right to it. I've been hunting and fishing my entire life. I live in northwestern Wisconsin, close to Lake Superior. My first encounter was early September, just before a bow opener in the year 1980. I'm 57 years old now, and at the time I was 16. I was with 2 other high school friends, riding an old Willys Jeep on a bird sanctuary grass road. We stopped at the top of the hill on the north side of a steep ravine about 300 yards across, with train tracks to our left and scrub oak to our right. We all noticed movement at the end of the scrub oak where it met the forest. Immediately we said it was a bear. Just so you know, we have all been up close and personal with black bear our entire lives, and to this day, we know what one and its size when we see one. So just about the same instant, we all said, that's not a bear. The scrub oak was 4 to 5 feet high, with this thing 4 to 5 feet taller than that. Its head was more like a man's face, no bear snout. It was looking directly at us, watching us. It then walked through the oak at a fast pace. Not even a bear could have made through the tops of that scrub without getting somewhat tangled up. We watched as it cleared the scrub and came into full view on the open grass, just under 100 yards away. It crossed the grass road and up the tracks. This man-like creature was within 7 yards of us when it went up and over the tracks to our left. I did not feel fear, but a great calm and curiosity while it was in view, almost trance-like. We just watched. But when it left our sight, we were super excited and scrambled as fast as we could to the tracks in an attempt to follow it, but it was gone. We told everyone we knew, and you can guess how that went. Now, about a year later, I was hunting near the Brule River Swamp. B-R-U-L-E. Brule River Swamp, and I came across something so unusual it made me dizzy. The forest fell dead silent. This happens to me now and then while alone in the forest, but this time it felt heavy. I stopped and heightened my senses like I always do and waited for the normal sounds to return. I've always felt that it was due to a large predator nearby. I looked up, and there in the tall oak trees was a fully grown cow about 20 feet off the ground, stuck between two large oaks with barbed wire. I was like, holy shit, what the F? Fear came through me like a zap of lightning. I looked around and back up at it with an arrow nocked, ready to protect myself. Please note, there is no sign of anything on the ground below and dense forest all around for at least a mile. Then, what might have been 5 minutes, all the sounds came back like a movie just started. I ran out of there as fast as I could. I told my buds, but they said that sounds effed up. None of them would go back to check it out when I offered. I went back a few years later to the exact spot, but no trace of that event. Fast-tracked 2013 road hunting, grouse with a friend off County Road A. We went south on the Jack in the Box Trail, an eighth of a mile on a familiar logging trail. Then east on another for a few hundred feet and got stuck. We worked to get out for about 20 minutes and decided we better get home and cleaned up. We worked the second shift at a steel bending plant. I went the same way out as we went in, but the trail is not the one we went in on when we got to the logging trail. The surroundings were unfamiliar to me. I've hunted here for over 40 years, and this made me feel dizzy. I was so disoriented. I drove on for about a quarter mile and knew exactly where I was. Freaked out more than I've ever been. We came out 12 miles south where we went in and had somehow crossed a major paved road, County Road M, without noticing, and a quarter mile from the Moose River Bar. Impossible. I told my friend John that if we go right, we'll not be in Solon Springs, but rather the next town south of there, the town of Gordon. He was in complete disbelief until I told him that the Moose Bar was just around the corner and we're going to be really late for work if we go that way because we lost about 2 hours and have to call in to tell work why we were late. And we are right next to Highway 35 that should be miles from where we should be. We told the truth of what happened, and to this day, they still bring it up at work. The people that were with me on the first encounter remember it just as I do, but John can't wrap his head around what happened to us and will not recall this event. Thank you for your time, Harmony. That is frickin' bizarre. And I have had a lot of people now, mostly hunters, have emailed me to tell me they lost time. I had one guy, man, I got to find that email because I don't think I posted it, because I had a guy show me his inReach travel route, and it showed miles, whereas inReach went up and up and up and up and up, and then all of a sudden there's a huge straight line and a gap of 4 miles, I think, whereas inReach and him showed up and it triggered and mapped out where he had traveled, and he was totally bewildered and lost that piece of time and the traveling between point A and point B. And then of course we got Edgar's email that came in last month, where he lost time and was actually a mile or 2 miles closer to the vehicle than where he was first sitting on that rock and lost time. There's a lot of weird shit going on out there, you guys. And keep emailing it in, all right? Just keep emailing it in and sharing it. If it happened, share it. It happened to somebody else, if it happened to you, I'll guarantee it. Save name of the people who don't exist. Hi, Steve. Thank God for you and the mission you're on. Single-handedly bringing closure to many folks' unanswered questions. If not closure, then at least relief from never knowing what they've witnessed. I've written before and wasn't able to clearly say what I meant. Product of constant pain from a collapsing spine. Oh, that sucks. But today I've thought through and researched the subject and now just need to let you know what I've found. The word Sabe is shortened from KemoSabe, which comes from the Ojibwe and Potawatomi word Gimazube, meaning he who no one knows, or he/she looks out in secret. I remember Tonto calling the Lone Ranger KemoSabe. There are other translations. One was Trusty Scout. Sabe works for me, as the others are derogatory and insulting to my way of thinking. All right, thanks for that email, man. Thanks, Danny. And that's pretty interesting, isn't it? I mean, everybody remembers Tonto calling the Lone Ranger KemoSabe. So Sabe, there it is. There's that word. Showed up in years in our past, right? And obviously the word Sabe came from the native people of the land. Interesting mention. Appreciate it. KemoSabe, one no one knows, eh? Makes sense to me. Anyway, now you can see the sun's going down, and it is time for me to get my butt out of here and get some more shit done. I got behind having to slow down a little bit so that frickin' chest crap didn't take me down, which it didn't. Anyway, be safe out there. Keep sharing. Don't stop talking. And share and learn. Share with and learn from the people. That's where you're going to get your honest information from, okay? Not mainstream news. And you are not going to get honest information from any person, group, or business that tries to make you be quiet, all right? Don't forget that. Teach your friends, teach your children that lesson in life. Only the guilty try to keep you silent. No one else. Good, honest people or people who have your better interest never, ever try to silence anyone. And that is a fact. You can look into it yourself. It'll probably take you about 3.5 minutes to back that statement up, right?